Chapter 43. Remember. Modern thinking, which has deep roots in Hellenic, medieval, scholastic and Enlightenment thinking, is strongly prone to abstractionism and intellectualism. It seeks to separate ideas and concepts from life, whereas biblical thinking is concrete and specific. A.G. Herbert called attention to this in its implications for the meaning of remember, when, for example, Joshua 1:13 tells us, quote, "Remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you," or Malachi 4:4, "Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant." Herbert points out that, quote, "the meaning is that they must obey it," end quote. We cannot think like moderns and act like Christians. Memory must be linked to action. This is very different from our view of memory as an English-speaking people. We identify memory with recollection. We can say, "I remember the first time I saw the state capitol," and it implies no action. In this sense, memory is recall, bringing up recollections of things past. A person with a good memory is one who had the ability to recall things from the past, knowledge acquired over the years, and so on and on. Our view of memory is past-oriented. On the other hand, the biblical usage to which Herbert called attention is clearly present and future-oriented. These two perspectives radically alter our Christian stance. In evangelical circles, much stress is placed on remembering one's conversion experience, the date, place, and so on. It is seen as an experience, not as a call. A call is to action and service, to a relationship to the present and future, whereas an experience is past history. If the experiential man looks to the future, it is commonly to look forward to being raptured out of this world. The called man looks to conquering the world for Christ. If one's perspective is governed by the fact of Christ's calling, then one's memory is not a miscellaneous collection of random items, but a well-marshalled perspective on the future. The past and the present are steps to God's future. Memory is, like history, an organization of time, and the memory of too many people is simply a directionless catch-all of items. One of the impressive facts about the effect of Christian men over the generations has been their focus on God's future. One of the greatest men of the past 2 centuries was General Booth, founder of the Salvation Army. One need not agree with his theology to recognize his greatness. His accomplishments were great because his focus was so totally on Jesus Christ and what he requires of us. The poet, Raquel Lindsay, caught the spirit of that calling in his great poem, General William Booth Enters Heaven. A godly memory in the biblical sense, as pointed out by Herbert, is very much needed by all of us. When our Lord at the Last Supper said, "Do this in remembrance of me," 1 Corinthians 11:24 following, he was not summoning them simply to a faithful recall of the event, but to a life of power in his service. As he had sacrificed himself to make atonement for his people, they were to bring all things into obedience to him in his living, continuing power. It was not simply a memorial service, but a mandate for action. Christ's Passover had as its forerunner Israel's Passover, which began with a requirement for obedience and then a summons to move forward and to conquer the Promised Land.